We are getting an interesting poll out of the Suffolk University folks. This is an interesting one. I only say because it gives us our first clear glimpse post last week's Fox debate. And it shows that among debate viewers, Trump might be slipping a little bit. Among that crowd, less inclined to support him if the field were no down. But the bigger picture for Donald Trump is it isn't an issue in the bigger crowd right now because he still leads that crowd, particularly in places like Iowa, where he has a lead over neighbor favorite Scott Walker of Wisconsin. But Marco Rubio, Ben Carson also coming up very strong in that ranking. Look at Carly Fiorina. She has emerged in that top tier. So these are surprising developments. Again, the negatives did go up a little bit for Donald Trump with this poll among debate viewers. The first time they've done a sort of a cross-section of both. In the meantime, we told you about the fact that Rick Perry, the former Texas governor's campaign, is in some disarray right now, told that staffers won't be getting paid in the meantime. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be getting money. The same situation bedeviled John McCain 8 years ago. And as you recall, some PACs came in. He resuscitated his campaign, went on to get the Republican nomination, and things were very different. Now, obviously, Rick Perry is hoping for the same, and he's sending out tweets essentially asking for money. How is all of this ending out right now? We go to the Wall Street Journal's Jerry Seib. Jerry, some interesting developments, and at least in that poll, early as it is, and, you know, sort of picked apart as it is, some of the first signs that if this were a smaller race, Donald Trump might be looking at a more difficult path. What do you make of it?
Well, I think that's true. You know, there's a core of Trump support, and you've seen it be fairly steady over the last month. It's not huge, though. You know, it's somewhere in the 10 to 20% of the Republican primary electorate. Everybody else is the 80%. So if you think about this as a 2 or 3 or 4 person race rather than a 16 or 17 person race, well, that anti-Trump vote, if that's what it is, would look an awful lot bigger than it does now. So early days, and there'll be some consolidation on the other side, and that's going to be the key to watch.
Jerry, the one thing that popped out here is the emergence of Carly Fiorina as a top-tier candidate. What do you make of that?
I think that was inevitable. I mean, anybody who watched the pre-debate debate, the non-primetime debate, I don't know of anybody who watched that and didn't walk away thinking Carly Fiorina not only won it, she dominated it. She was very impressive. There was a place for Carly Fiorina in this race somewhere. She just had to find it. I think she's found it now as one of the alternatives, one of the conservative alternatives to not just Donald Trump, but to some of the other people who are on the primetime stage. It's very articulate, very well spoken, and she knows how to do politics, even though she's not a politician. And by the way, this is a year where not being a politician is an attribute, not a liability.
I was thinking of how it has helped Ben Carson as well. He moved up a little bit. Obviously, Marco Rubio did. Both got good reviews on their debate performance. What are we to make of that?
Well, I do think that there's a way in which, and I wrote about this some in the Journal today, in which the Trump phenomenon may help certain candidates, which is to say that they maybe hit some of those same strokes that Donald Trump does, but they do it in a more palatable way. And so if you kind of like some of the stuff that Donald Trump brings to the table, but you're looking for a more acceptable package in which to find those things, somebody like a Marco Rubio, also a fresh face like Donald Trump is, Ben Carson, also a non-politician like Donald Trump, Carly Fiorina, also a non-politician like Donald Trump. You know, maybe they hit some of those same notes, but in a way that's more acceptable. So maybe Trump is, sort of stirring up some sentiments, but those sentiments end up landing someplace else.
And real quickly, Jerry, one thing I loved about your comment is the advantages that Ted Cruz might be getting out of this. Welcome news for him, right? Yeah.
Again, you know, have a kind of a safer, more sane, if you will, conservative voice. Somebody who did well in the debate, but kind of got overshadowed by the Trump mania. He's stepped to the fore a little bit as well. So I think he fits into that category also.
Jerry Seib, thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate it.
Good to see you.